Welcome back to the deep dive. We are right at a really critical point if you're watching industrial real estate. It's late 2025.
Yeah, decision time.
Exactly. High stakes developers, the ones deploying serious capital, they're making calls right now that shape their 2026 groundbreakings. And they're basically grappling with two, enormous questions. First, how do we actually break ground without hitting those killer delays or cost overruns?
Always the fear.
And second, once it's built, how do we get tenants in quickly and maximize value, but without wrecking the already tight margins in this sector?
That tension, speed versus viability, it's intense right now. You can't just hunt for the cheapest patch of dirt anymore.
No.
No, you need operational certainty. Uncertainty is just, it's poison for these huge capital projects.
And that really sets up our mission today. We're digging into a source that offers a pretty clear, very practical roadmap for tackling this exact problem.
Right.
This deep dive is all about de-risking those big 2026 builds. And the analysis we're looking at really hammers home that this month, November, is the crucial window.
It's the make or break time.
The non-negotiable time, they say, to lock down the key pieces for a smooth start next year.
And the source itself is an analysis from the Fulton County Industrial Development Agency, FCIDA for short.
Right.
Their whole purpose is economic growth, which, in practice means helping developers get projects done faster and, crucially, with less risk baked in.
Okay, and they've laid out this 5-step blueprint, essentially arguing that the really smart developers are nailing down these 5 things before January 1st.
Kind of like an insurance policy.
Yeah, an insurance policy against the delays and, frankly, the inflation that just seems to plague industrial construction lately. So let's jump in. Component 1, securing truly shovel-ready land with infrastructure in place.
That phrase, truly shovel-ready, is doing a lot of work there, because that's where the high-stakes game really kicks off. Most land is just, it's vacant. Truly shovel-ready means it's guaranteed, ready to go.
Okay, explain that. If I'm a developer, I live on managing risk. So what specific painful hurdles am I trying to skip when I look at one of FCIDA's pre-vetted sites? They mentioned Tryon Technology Park, Johnstown Industrial Park.
Right. You're essentially paying to avoid the hidden stopwatch of infrastructure and approvals, the things that kill timelines.
Like what specifically?
The biggest time sinks are definitely utility hookups, getting power, water, sewer, gas, broadband sorted. Then there's fighting zoning battles, which can take forever.
Ugh, zoning.
And maybe the worst, uncovering environmental issues after you've already started planning. That can stop a project dead.
So a developer needs absolute clarity, certified access to all those utilities.
All of them. And not just knowing they're nearby, but knowing the capacity is there. The hookups are planned. They also need lots that aren't just zoned right on paper, but are actually graded, buildable, certified, no surprises.
Because if you buy land and it takes, 6 months, a year, just to get the utility designs approved?
Your whole financial model is shot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your investors are asking questions.
So how does FCIDA deliver on this? How do they take that risk off the table?
They offer these sites where the big hurdles are already cleared, zoning's done, environmental reviews, either pre-cleared or fast-tracked almost to zero.
Okay.
And they literally hand you the utility schematics, the access maps, up front, no guesswork.
So the immediate win is you bypass months of pre-construction headaches. You go straight to final engineering, architectural work.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You cut months off the front end. And in today's market, time is incredibly expensive. Paying a bit more for certainty on the land, knowing it's truly ready, often ends up being the cheapest option when you factor in the cost of delays.
Right. Avoiding those unknown unknowns. Okay, that flows perfectly into component 2, which tackles the next big risk. Bureaucracy. The invisible enemy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We're talking about fast-track approvals that align with your capital timeline. Because even with perfect land, unpredictable government processes can just torpedo a project.
Oh, they absolutely can. Ask any developer. What they crave more than almost anything is entitlement predictability.
Entitlement predictability. Break that down.
Okay, so fast track doesn't mean skipping safety checks or environmental rules. It means cutting out the waiting time between steps. Sequential processing kills projects.
Right.
Developers need crystal clear, step-by-step permit requirements.
Right.
And they need, essentially, a guarantee that the timeline isn't going to suddenly blow up.
So when you say predictability, is it like knowing 6 months out with near certainty the permits will land? Or is it more technical?
It's kind of both. Technically, entitlements are the legal permissions to use the land for your specific project. Predictability means knowing that process won't get bogged down. And crucially, it often means having a single point of contact at the agency, someone who drives the process. They quarterback the communication between all the different players, local government, planners, utilities.
Instead of the developer chasing 5 different departments.
Exactly. If you submit to 5 agencies and one takes 6 months longer than expected, you've just lost half a year, maybe more. Your funding might be at risk.
The source mentions FCIDA can deliver approvals in 60 to 90 days, which sounds almost unbelievably fast for this sector.
It is fast.
So what's the catch? How do they do that without cutting corners?
It's not really a catch, it's coordination. They've shifted the model from a passive, file your papers and wait system.
Which is standard, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They shifted to a proactive system. They have agreements in place with the municipalities, the utilities, everyone needed. They bring them all to the table together early on.
So it's about parallel processing, not sequential waiting.
You got it. The developer avoids the administrative friction, the waiting for Department A to finish before Department B will even look at it. Same standards, just much, much faster throughput.
Okay, so clarity on the ground, clarity on the clock. That takes us right to component 3, the money. The financial side. Incentives. Right. Every region waves incentives around, but the FCIDA source really emphasizes packages that, quote, actually move the needle. What specifics make the difference in truly lowering risk?
Yeah, moving the needle is key. We're looking for concrete, quantifiable tools, things that give immediate cash flow relief during construction and also cut long-term tax bills.
And critically, they have to be easy to access.
Absolutely critical. If an incentive involves months of legal wrangling or complex applications, it creates its own friction. It can actually slow things down, defeating the purpose.
Okay, so let's get specific. The source highlights 3 main financial mechanisms. What's the first one?
The first and maybe the biggest long-term impact is their 10-year pilot program. Pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes.
A property tax break, basically.
Major one.
Yeah.
But the structure is really smart. It starts with a huge 50% tax exemption in year 1.
Okay, half off.
Right. Then that exemption decreases by 5% each year. So year 2 is 45% off, year 3 is 40% off, and so on, until it phases out completely after year 10.
Why that specific ramp down? Why not just a flat rate?
Because it's designed to work for both sides. For the developer, it front-loads the savings. You get maximum relief in those first few super expensive years: construction, tenant, fit-out, initial operations. That's when cash flow is tightest.
Makes sense.
But for the local town or county, the tax payments gradually increase in a predictable way. They can plan their budgets knowing the revenue is coming online steadily. It makes the whole deal much more palatable, politically sustainable.
That's clever. Satisfies the treasury, helps the developer when they need it most. Smart. What are the other 2?
Second is a sales tax exemption. It's 8% off all materials and equipment bought for the construction.
8% on potentially tens of millions in materials.
Exactly. That's immediate, direct savings on your capital cost. Just straight to the bottom line.
Okay, and the third?
A 1% mortgage recording tax exemption. When you take out that huge construction loan, you normally pay a tax just to record the mortgage.
I hadn't focused on that one before, but yeah, 1% on, say, a $50 million loan.
That's $500,000 saved instantly, just for choosing to build there. It's pure efficiency.
Wow. Those 3 alone are significant.
They really add up fast, lower cost to build, lower cost to operate initially. And FCIDA also helps developers tap into wider New York State programs, like the Excelsior Jobs Program and something called Fast NY.
Fast NY, capital stack. What does that mean for a developer, briefly?
Yeah, it means help accessing state-level financing tools, things like bonding, specialized loans, maybe infrastructure grants to help close any funding gaps. It's about stacking all available resources, state and local, to make the project pencil out.
Okay. Land secured, permits fast-tracked, financials looking good. But an empty building doesn't make money. So that brings us to a critical shift. Component 4, post-construction partnership. How do you de-risk the leasing phase? Make sure that speed translates into paying tenants.
Yeah, this is huge. You need more than just, a ribbon-cutting ceremony.
Right.
You need a real economic development partner who feels like they have skin in the game after the building is up. Developers need help actively marketing this space, marketing the region.
What does that look like practically?
It means the agency provides market data, handles local PR, creates marketing materials the developer's broker can use directly, basically amplifying the message.
The FCIDA analysis mentions more specialized support too, though. It's not just flyers and press releases.
No, and this is where it gets really interesting. They talk about active post-build support, yes, but the real high-value piece, seems to be workforce development programs tailored to the specific industries they're trying to attract.
Wait, so explain that. A potential tenant isn't just looking at square footage.
They're looking at labor. If a big logistics company or, say, an advanced manufacturer is thinking about moving in, FCIDA can show them, look, we're already investing in training programs at the local college or BOCCS specifically for the kinds of jobs you need to fill.
That changes the whole calculation for the tenant, doesn't it?
Completely. It directly addresses their biggest operational risk, finding skilled labor. That makes the building vastly more attractive than a similar empty shell somewhere else where they'd be on their own for hiring.
And the source also mentioned flexibility, things like planning for future phases.
Yeah, planning ahead for phase builds, helping with build-to-suit arrangements if a tenant needs something custom, even thinking about vertical expansion possibilities down the road.
So it gives the tenant confidence they can grow there long term.
Exactly. The developer isn't just selling a box, they're selling a long-term home, backed by a regional partner committed to the tenant's success. That helps secure longer leases, better tenants. It makes the whole initial investment much more secure.
Okay, that leads perfectly into the final component, number 5. This one feels a bit less tangible, maybe. It's about proof of regional investment and success.
Right. This goes beyond the paperwork and the permits.
Yeah.
It's about confidence, trust.
What does that proof actually look like to a developer making a 9-figure bet on a region?
It looks like a stable, supportive ecosystem. They need to see the local leadership is genuinely committed long-term, not just looking for a quick win, that the political environment is reliable.
And seeing other businesses thrive.
Crucial. Success breeds success. They need to see evidence that other companies, ideally similar ones, are already growing and succeeding there. They need to see a repeatable model. If they're going first, the risk feels much higher.
So how does an agency like FCIDA demonstrate this? Trust is hard to put on a spreadsheet.
They quantify it with their track record, and they focus on 2 key outcomes. First, just their history of actually getting projects built, taking them from concept all the way to operational, showing they can finish what they start.
Execution matters.
Absolutely. And second, maybe the strongest proof point, is showing how properties successfully transition. They go from being tax-exempt under that pilot program
Right, during the wrap-up.
to becoming fully tax-contributing businesses later on.
So showing the payoff for the local community, that the incentives worked, jobs were created, and now the tax base is growing.
Precisely. It proved the model works for everyone. It validates the community's investment, which in turn reinforces the political will to support the next project. It creates this positive feedback loop.
That's a powerful closer. Okay, let's pull these 5 pieces together. The core idea seems to be that modern industrial development isn't just about finding cheap land or a basic tax break anymore.
No, it's way beyond that. It
Yeah.
requires this integrated package. Speed, clarity, guaranteed infrastructure, real financial tools, and genuine partnership, both before and after construction.
It sounds like the real product they're offering is certainty.
Certainty, transparency, and momentum. If you look at those 5 things together, the shovel-ready land, the fast approvals, the smart incentives, the post-build support, and that proof of success, they systematically target and remove the traditional bottlenecks that delay projects and inflate costs.
They're selling risk reduction.
That's exactly it. They place a massive premium on time and certainty because in this market, those are the most valuable commodities.
Which brings us back to the urgency. The source was really clear. This isn't a discussion for Q1 next year. November is the window.
Yeah, they framed it starkly. For developers deciding where to invest for 2026, the groundwork done before New Year's is basically the difference between a smooth groundbreaking in Q2 or potentially facing another year of delays, cost increases, project uncertainty. November is when you need to be doing the site visits, starting the conversations, getting agreements drafted, kicking off that entitlement process.
So we've talked about the individual savings, the efficiencies of each component,
Right.
But you're saying the real value isn't just adding up those pieces.
No, I think the true value proposition here is the creation of a repeatable model. It's a blueprint.
A blueprint for predictability.
Exactly. A blueprint that drastically cuts down the unknowns developers hate, turning what's always been a really complex, high-risk gamble into something much closer to a predictable business process.
Which leads us to that final thought, that provocation. Maybe the real insight here is just how expensive time has become in development. So expensive that buying certainty is now the best investment you can make. And it makes you wonder, What other huge capital-intensive industries rely this heavily on a deep regional partnership just to unlock the speed needed to even make the investment viable today? It's a fascinating question.
It really is. Definitely something to think about as the next cycle kicks off.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for walking us through these 5 critical steps. Really insightful.
My pleasure. Good discussion.
We'll catch you next time for the deep dive.